Join me every month for the inspiration to find your finish line. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Find Your Finish Line. I'm Mike Riley, and I hope you've all had a fantastic training and racing summer. And just think about it, all you athletes down under, summer is on its way. Oh, you must love that. And if you competed at the Ironman World Championships in Nice this past September 14th, congratulations. I'm glad you found your finish line there. And obviously, for all you women that are going to Kona on October 11th, I hope the Hawaiian spirits are with you every mile of the way. So we're going to be talking about both those races in just a sec. What I'd like to do, too, is make sure you all tune in to this broadcast anywhere it's at, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, things like that. And keep sending your notes to me. That's fantastic. I love hearing some of your comments on what guests I should have on and things like that. So thanks for being a part of it all. I'm very excited to have my guest on today, who is someone that is so revered and respected in the sport, not only because of her racing, because of what she continues to do in the sport. She's a 3-time Ironman World Champion. She's got a 70.3 championship under her belt. She's finished in Kona second a couple of times and a third. And she's a master coach with her husband. Tim O'Donnell heads up Salty Bears Coaching. She's a mom of 3. I love saying that because you're Aussie, a mom. I love saying mom. And you'll often hear her on the Ironman broadcast. Everybody, let's welcome to the show, Mirinda Carfrae. Hi, Rennie.
Hey, Mike, thanks for having me on. Looking forward to championship season. We got the men's race completed. Now it's all eyes on the women.
I know it's kind of interesting with both of them. And you've got that in-between time to think about one and then think about the one coming up. But my first question on Find Your Finish Line is always to my guest, what kind of workout did you get in today? Did you get one in?
I actually did. Yeah. I went for a run, got a few efforts in. I actually met with a friend of mine, and then we met Rachel Joyce, one of my old sparring partners. And we did some 2-minute efforts. My friend is getting ready to race. My running partner's getting ready to race Berlin Marathon, so she heads out tonight. But I did get my run in today. I'm a much better person when I get a little exercise in the morning.
Tell me about it. And didn't I see, weren't you running with Rachel on some trails not too long ago? Was she with you on those trail runs?
Yeah, Rachel joins us on and off to, on the trails and stuff. We've done Skyline Traverse a few times, which is a beautiful trail, like hike run here in Boulder, along the skyline there. But yeah, she's a great person, and whenever we can, we connect to race.
I love that. I always love being at an event with her. Such a sweetheart. So we're going to talk about the Nice, the men's race that just happened. But before we do you have any assessment on how you believe the 2025 season's been going thus far?
I mean, yeah, the Ironman Pro Series, it's second year now. So I think that just brings another level of excitement. You get to watch more head-to-head racing. And I think, the race that stands out to me is Hamburg this year in the women's on the side. I mean, Frankfurt on the men's too, but that women's race was just phenomenal with Laura Phillip and Kat Matthews going head-to-head all day long and then running those ridiculously fast marathons off the bike. That race, and then the emergence of Solveig Lovseth as well. A young talent that's come up into the Ironman distance and on debut, fastest ever Ironman time, coming in third to those two superstars. So I think it just sets the stage for an exciting showdown in Kona this year. But it just shows that there's more women stepping up to the plate. We have our favorites that we've seen perform at the top level over the last couple of years, but I think there's more emerging talent. But again, I think just the addition of the Ironman Pro Series gives us more opportunity to see phenomenal performances throughout the year.
And what's amazing is just when you mention someone and you're watching the race, and when I watched Hamburg and she finished third, and I go, who is that?
Yeah.
I haven't been out of the sport that long. Who is that?
Totally.
Coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So the men's race in Nice, we had our tri-dot coaching legends, Mark Allen and Craig Alexander doing the play-by-play with Jan, or doing the color from the race with Jan. Uh, so when we talk about the men's race, it's everybody's been talking about that Norwegian train, that freight train. And I think the last time, well, the Germans swept the podium twice in '97 and in 2016, when Jan won it with Sebastian behind him, then Patrick. But did you ever expect in your wildest dreams that was going to happen with someone who was like the 26th seed?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone picked Casper to be the champion. I mean, I think he really hasn't. I mean, he does have pedigree. He's racing ICU.
Mm-hmm.
He's training with two of the sport's best. Um, but yeah, I don't think anyone expected to see that performance from him on the biggest stage in Nice. So that was just an exciting addition to the already incredible lineup of guys that we had that could win the race. So having him step up and actually win. But the Norwegian train was in full force. They, trained together, worked their butts off. You hear the interviews after, and Gustav, this is what we've been dreaming about. This is what we've been talking about in training, and to have that come together on the biggest stage when it all matters most. Yeah, it was kind of a fairy tale finish for those boys. I know a lot of other men don't feel it was much of a fairy tale for them, but I mean, it was an incredible display, and to run sub 2:30
30, yeah.
day to take that championship, and Gustav running a 32, just mind blowing.
You know, and I'm just thinking of this, Rennie, and I don't know if you've had this thought process, but when you have three athletes like that, and we all heard the interviews and how excited they were that you finished third and they finished first and they finished second, and they were excited for one another, and it looked awful damn genuine to me. It wasn't like, oh, my countryman and he did good, and you know what I mean. And don't you think that has to really fuel the fire in each of them so they do have the types of performances they're having, to be able to have that camaraderie and almost like a brother right next to you going toe to toe? And this is cool. I want to beat him, but this is cool.
Yeah.
Don't you feel that way?
Yeah, I think you said the word that was on my lips, and it felt like a brotherhood. Like, these three men have been training together day in, day out for a couple of years now, and they've been sparring partners. And when you have the best in the world to train against, I think you know where the level is, and you see it every single day. And to measure yourself against that every single day, a rising tide floats all ships. So they're all just improving together. And I remember when a lot of the best women in the sport were joining my group, Siri Lindley's group. I didn't love
Mm-hmm.
it. I'm like, I don't want my competitors here. I don't want them to be doing what I'm doing. But at the end of the day, having those women in the group allowed me to access maybe more than I would have been able to without them in the group. And so, yeah, I think, you know, it's a double-edged sword, though, because you see them working hard or doing well every single day, and you can kind of tip over the other side and do a little bit too much. But yeah, I mean, it looks like they've got the formula right now. They're all firing, and they were firing when it mattered most. And yeah, I love to see that at the finish line. Like, I know Gustav wanted to win so badly, Christian wanted to win
Yeah.
so badly, but they were genuinely happy for Casper to take that title, and for the three of them to be on the podium. I mean, I'm sure they're going home like, well, maybe next time I need to do this to win, or like, for
Mm-hmm.
sure, they,
Mm-hmm.
each of them
I
want to
know.
win. But I think it was really cool to see how genuinely happy for each other they were.
And you mentioned, just final thing on that thought on that. You mentioned the formula. And can you imagine your Sam Laidlaw, your Patrick Lange, and others, and they're going, I'm not racing against one person. I'm racing against two or three. What that, that's almost like daunting to someone who trying to figure out who their competitors are. It's more than one, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and at least, if one of them doesn't show up and have a great day, then there's another one that's going to show up and have a great day. So, it's sort of next man up, sort of mentality there. And you even like Magnus Ditlev, Sam Laidler, Patrick
Yeah.
Lange, like a lot of men, looking for that title, like always. But yeah, for those three men to go 1, 2, 3, pretty incredible.
Well, let's talk about the women racing in Kona for the final time by themselves on October 11th. And, as I just said that, they're coming back together in 2026 in Kona. I was a part of all those years, as you were too. You were in it deeper than me about the quote unquote fairness of the race, because the men are catching the women, and the age group men catching the pro women, and they don't have the fair chance of it all. This isn't like going backwards with that, is it? I mean, it almost, I want them together. Everybody does, but how's it going to be for the women? Will it be the same type situation?
When I first started racing in Kona 2009, 2010, the men and women started together. And
Yeah.
I don't think it was fair then. But beyond that, I feel like they found the right formula, because a few years in there when they had the men start, and I believe we started 5 minutes behind the men.
Yeah.
And then we had a 20-minute gap to the amateurs, something like that. It was a
Hmm.
sizable gap to the amateurs. I felt like that they were the fairest years for the women. And yes, some of the pro women were able to ride into the men, but it really didn't impact our race too much, or at least I didn't feel like it did. And I remember those years, 2013, 14, when I was at the top of my game. I didn't see an age ripper. Or, maybe I saw a pro man, but he was so much stronger than me on the bike that he was gone. And then maybe at the end of the bike, one amateur male came past me towards the end of
Hmm.
the bike, but it was
Hmm.
kind of like he came and left. And so I feel like those years, I felt my race in particular was completely untouched. And it's not like that for all races. Many other races on the circuit, I felt that the 2-minute difference between men and women. And again, when you're racing just a regular Ironman or a regular 70.3, there's just the difference in talent is so vast. So
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
professionals that maybe just got their pro card and on the men's side are not as fast as the best women, or nowhere near as fast as the best women. Um, that impedes our race a lot. But at the World Championships, these are the cream of the crop in the men's side and
Mm.
the cream of the crop in the women's side. So I feel like there's less variability where, the slower pro men are in hindering the women in any way. And then, with that really big gap to the age groupers, if you swim that poorly, if you're a woman, you swim that poorly, you're not going to get dragged up to the front of the race. So
Hmm.
maybe
Right.
you do get a little bit of help, but you're not really impacting the top 10. So I felt like it was fairly fair the way it was. I think the only thing that's going backwards is that the first person to cross the finish line is a man and not a woman, right? And the focus now is
Yep.
divided between the men and the women on race day, which I'm okay with. But at the end of the day, it's nice to have the women on their own stage on their own day where they have all the focus on them. But I don't know. I feel like the
Hmm.
women's race is equally as exciting as the men's race. The viewership is very similar. Um, so we'll see what happens when we go back in 26.
When I was calling it, Rennie, and the men would come in, and the top three men, and everybody's loud, going crazy, the whole deal, and then the eighth, ninth, and then we get a report. Oh my gosh, uh, our women's leader is only 12 minutes out.
Mhm.
And the crowd would like do it again, and I go, oh good, this is all right. Yeah, yeah, we've got another. It was almost like double your pleasure. You got another champion that was coming on in. And a lot of times for the women, they were louder than the men, because I think more people got to the finish line and they weren't out watching on the course. So I always felt that they got as much, if not more, than the men did, because there was more of a crowd there. It was cool to do it a second time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can see that too. Maybe there's people on the island that are just really there for the women, so they wouldn't really follow the men's race. But by the time the women come through, the men's supporters stay to see.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
you may be right in that, and saying that the crowd itself probably only builds the longer, the athletes are. The
Yes.
longer the race goes on.
Well, before we get into the seeds of the race in Kona, Nice and Kona are two different courses.
Mhm.
It's obvious. Two different bike courses for sure. Uh, is there any correlation at all? You know, you got Laura Phillips. She won Nice last year. She's coming to Kona. Obviously, she probably had to change her training and things like that. But is there any correlation between the two at all that gives someone like her an advantage? Well, I won Nice. Now I'm going back to Kona. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think if you win a world title, then you are, no matter what, going to be a factor
Mm.
in the following years world championships, regardless of where it's at. Um, Cat Matthews, Laura Phillip, typical athletes that maybe not the best swimmers in the field, very good swimmers, but not the best. Phenomenal cyclists, and that showed through in Nice. And then both of them, two of the
Mm-hmm.
best runners in our sport. So um, Nice really was set up well for those 2 women. That's not to say that they can't perform equally as well in Kona. But yeah, as I look down the field, we've got 3 women that are Ironman World Champions, showing up. You got,
Yeah.
Chelsea Sodaro, who won a number of years back, Lucy Charles-Barclay, of course, and, Laura Phillips. So, 3 former world champions lining up, and then, Kat Matthews, my gosh, she's been just incredible this year, and yes, she came second to Laura Phillip in Hamburg, but very close race there. And Kat really hasn't performed yet in Kona. I guess her only real chance was 2 years ago, as she missed the one before that. But then we
Right.
have Taylor Knibb, the short course athlete, obviously now has raced a few Ironman races, so um, knows what to expect. And then Julie Duron, an incredible young talent coming up from ITU and just setting the world on fire at the T100 distance. And oh my gosh, the list just goes on. Solveig Loset as well, an incredible young talent. Lisa Perderer. Yeah, just to name a few. There's some very big hitters that have everything that they need to win a world title. Now, you've got to get it right on race day, and that's
Yeah.
what we're there to
Yeah.
watch.
You know, I in the top 10, we've got 4 of the seeds that have never done Kona. And looking at it like Lisbeth and I go, my gosh, you know, we could. We've never really had a rookie come in and Chelsea came in for, you know, and won it, but it just is always so hard to do. But do you think somebody, say, let's take Lucy for example, coming out of the water and obviously a ridiculously sub 50,
Yeah.
you know, minute swim, and she knows that course, knows how to race that course. You think that takes a little wind out of the sail of some of the other athletes when they're behind her by so long and now know that she can really crank on the bike?
Well, yeah, I think Lucy just showed us what she's capable of when she did that I guess it was
Mm,
2023 when
3, yeah.
when she had that phenomenal swim, and then she just extended her lead on the bike, and then it was too much on the run for anyone to overcome it. And so I think Lucy is I think the favorite for this one because she didn't have a great year last year. She was notably injured and sort of um not herself. It seems very much like she is back in form this year. And you're right, she's done this race a number of times. She's been second so many times. And this is the race she loves. So I think people like Kat, Laura, I mean, Taylor Knibb will want to be keeping Lucy in as close as possible the whole day, if possible.
Yeah.
But I think the women know that they can't mess around on the bike. They can't rest on their laurels. They can't look around to anyone else. They've got to know that Lucy's up the road, and if we give her too much time, then this race is hers. So I think this race they'll attack it a little differently than what they did 2 years ago. But again, sometimes you think you're attacking it, but Lucy's attacking it even more. Maybe she has more cards up her sleeve.
You know, Kat Matthews with the year she had last year, and obviously winning the Pro Series, which was one of her big goals. What do you think she has to do on this course in Kona to be right up there halfway through the run? What do you? Because Taylor's a hell of a runner, and obviously Lucy can run well. Laura Phillip is a flyer. Kat Matthew to be on that podium or to win the race. What do you think she's got to do for herself?
I just think she needs to have a really good swim. If she has a great swim, and Kat has she typically swims very well, like extremely well in a wetsuit. This is of course a non-wetsuit swim, but she has made strides over the years in her swimmability. If she gets out of the water, um, you know, within reach, I mean, 3 4 minutes back from Lucy,
Hmm.
I think that her day's really set up well, from that point, and then she just has to do what she does on the bike every single time she hops on that bike, and then unleash the run that she has. Again, in Kona, a lot of different things have to go right. Nutrition, hydration, you gotta make sure you're not overheating and not, like, going into that red zone, so she'll have to be careful there, but I think Kat has all the tools necessary to win this race. I think it's gonna the swim is gonna be key for Kat. Laura Phillip as well. She's most likely gonna be even further down than Kat. So Laura Phillip, the swim, super important. But then I look at like someone like Taylor Knibb. If she can like hang out with Lucy, be off
Yeah.
her whole day, and then try to put together a great marathon off the bike, like she's like a shoe in as well. So, but then there's dark horses, Julie Duran, Solveig, Lisa Purderer. Uh, these women are kind of the X factors that will be in the mix and sort of throwing a spanner in the wrench for some of the women that are more experienced. So it's like you got to keep an eye on the X factors because they are legit. But you also have to make sure you're not giving too much time away to Lucy.
Yeah, Lisa's had a heck of a season. So has Julie Duran, and a lot of the athletes have obviously raced the T100 races, Rennie. And uh, I don't know. I always saw that distance as one heck of a training ground distance for the Ironman race. You know, back in the day when you were racing, you did an Ironman. Well, I got to get an Ironman in the spring or one in the summer, then go to Kona. But now they could race 3 or 4 T100s, and it's almost like a training ground for them. Do you see it that way?
Yeah, absolutely. I think T100 obviously is a step down from the 70.3 distance, so a little bit shorter, but it's fast. A lot of ITU athletes are stepping up into the
Mhm.
T100, and so you cannot have a weakness in that distance because the swim is extremely important. Because the bike is 80K, run 20K, and it is full gas the whole way. And when you have that kind of threshold ability to sit there for 3:40, 3:30, it only helps for your Ironman, strength endurance. So yeah,
Right.
absolutely. I always think that the best 70.3 athletes are, for the most part, not always, some of the best 70.3 athletes are not able to make it across to Ironman, but a lot of the time they have that talent and that super, strong, strength, endurance, and ability to hold threshold for that period of time. They really progress well across to Ironman.
You know, my take, Taylor Knibb. You talk. I mean, she's still only 27 years old, Rennie. I mean, it seems like she's been racing for 15 years. Well, she has, but the last 6 years or so is where she really came into the limelight. But it's still, to me, it looks like when she's racing and she gets around somebody like a Lucy or a Laura, she's in awe, but she's in awe with a look on her face like these are the best, but I want to kick their ass. I mean, it's just a great thing to see in her because it's so pure and it's innocent, but yet she's like a prize fighter. Guess what? I'm doing the best I can do to knock you down. That's a great attitude, isn't it?
Yeah, it's wonderful to see like her. We saw her in Kona in 2023, and I think she was like, "Why is everyone looking to me like I'm a rookie? This is my first shot at this distance." I'm kind of in awe of the women I'm racing. But, she's a fighter. She's a
Mm.
serious competitor, and so, as soon as that gun goes off, you have no doubt that Taylor will be pulling no punches, on race day. So, yeah, an incredible talent. I don't know that she's worked out the Ironman distance yet. She raced,
Mm.
obviously, Texas earlier this year and,
Yeah.
raced solid, but nothing to really write home about. Yeah, I mean, I think she has a bright future. I think she's still figuring it out, but, I mean, she could go out there and win it. She's that talented and that tough and that tenacious. Um, and yeah, maybe, from Texas, I know she just wanted to qualify. So she didn't fully show her cards there, but she certainly was a long way back from Kat Matthews at the finish line.
Well, you do know, Aaron, if she comes across the finish line, there's going to be a look on her face like, I don't believe I did this. And we'll go, yeah, we all believe you did this. That's for sure.
For sure.
Course records. When Lucy won that tremendous race in 2023, she set the course record, just missed her swim course record. When an athlete goes back to a race and, and you were there and you have that course record and all the media, oh, by the way, you own the course record on the run, or you own the course record on the whole course record, or whatever it is. That's always talked about prior to the race. I know people are going to come at Lucy. Oh my gosh, you went 8:24 in 2023. Sample question: are you going to be shooting for that? Do you see that as it's kind of a detriment for them to have that in their head a lot?
No, I think they just see it as noise, and dismiss it as that. And as you know, in Kona, not certainly in the last sort of almost decade, I feel like we haven't had crazy weather, but we could have crazy weather, and then all records
Yeah.
are out the window. So on a perfect day, if all goes well, then yeah, Lucy's going to be shooting for that record. The wind kicks up in Harvey or back massive headwind on the way home, then no, like she's 10 minutes slower on the bike. Like forget about it. So it's kind of one of those things that's in the back of your mind. It's great to have. But I think first and foremost in their minds is putting together the perfect performance to try and win the thing again. Records are wonderful, but you have to have a sort of set of circumstances that line up for you for that to be reality.
Right. It's interesting you mentioned weather, and I thought about it. The last 4 or 5 years have been kind of a piece of cake compared to years that you've seen and I've seen through the years. So of late, people aren't really talking about that. But you brought it up and it hit me. Oh my gosh, what if the winds are just in your face both ways, which athletes, they can be. Yeah, I really know. It can be both ways. Nothing about a tailwind.
Yeah.
And that changes the game with people so much mentally, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I don't know. I don't know that it's just a change and it won't happen again. I don't believe that because I know athletes have gone out there and trained in the weeks leading in advance. I mean, like, man, if the race was today, it would have been a really tough day. But yeah, I mean, it just hasn't set up that way in the past number of years. But it is a factor. It's Kona, right? Like cloud cover on the run is a big factor. If you have cloud cover and a little rain on the run, that's a game changer. All of a sudden you're not in an oven. That's a massive difference. So weather, I think, in Kona is always going to be a factor in terms of how fast the women can race on the day.
I don't know who it might have been. Ben Hoffman said to me after he had a great race there, and it was kind of rainy and cloudy, and he goes, "Oh my gosh, it was like running in air conditioning." I go, "Dude, it was still like 88.
Yeah.
It's agreed." No. It was like running in air conditioning because of the difference between the sun and the shade.
Yeah, well, when you've conditioned yourself and you've done all the training on, the hot days, and Ben sets himself up in Tucson, Arizona, a lot of the year, or used to.
Yeah.
Lives there now, but to prepare when the cloud cover comes, you're like, wow, it's not scorching hot, and so it's actually feels quite pleasant in your mind because you've reset the boundary of what hot is and what not hot is, right? So yeah, I mean, 88 degrees is certainly not air conditioning, but I'm sure in that moment that's what he was telling himself.
That's what it felt like. So does Mirinda Carfrae, our world champion who should know everything, our master coach. Do you have a pick for the top three? Have you thought about who you'd put down on paper for the top three?
Oh my God. I mean, I can't go past Lucy because I feel like she's got a momentum back. My three are Lucy, Kat, Laura, but I'm gonna I feel like Lucy Duron's gonna get in there as well. Yep.
Really? So she'd be your dark horse, so to speak?
Yep. And I don't know that she's really that dark a horse, because her performance at the Ironman race, I can't remember where it was, but she ran like a 2:52 or something off the bike the first marathon. And she's been lighting it up in the T100 all year. So, and her coach Brett Sutton knows how to coach athletes to Kona.
Mm.
I think she's gonna be on the podium. So one of those women are gonna be knocked out. So yeah, that I guess is my dark horse pick.
Yeah, and I don't know why I was thinking about it the other day with, let's say if it is Lucy or it is Kat or Laura, there's going to be somebody that's going to run into that third position. I always, somebody falters in the last 10K or so, somebody you kind of don't know, like Julie, who we all know her, but I mean, less known, could run into that podium position, like you say. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
hmm
Yeah. You've been there. You coach. Do you have a lot of your athletes, the Salty Bears doing Kona?
Yeah, I have 3 women racing in Kona. So yeah, I mean,
Oh,
and I'll be out there, of course, on the commentary team, and I have a number of
right.
other one of the other Salty Bears coaches and a couple of other my athletes coming out just to support and spectate. So we'll have a nice little group down there. Really looking forward to it, actually.
Well, I wasn't invited. I got a Salty Bear hat. I could bring that,
Yeah, come on down. You're welcome to come. Actually, I think Tim's got, so there's 4 Salty Bears women racing, because one of his athletes is racing too. So
Oh, good,
yeah.
good. So so many age groupers go to Kona for the first time, as you're aware. What advice would you give them?
Um, I think don't get carried away with all of the pre-race festivities. It's like a circus race week,
There's
and
there's
just
there's lots of it.
just pick and choose your moments where you go out and enjoy it and soak it all in, but make sure you spend, a good amount of time each day, like with your feet up and resting, because at the end of the day that you're there to race your best over an Ironman distance, and you'll be happy that you gave yourself that opportunity to race to your ability, rather than running around all week doing all the crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's great advice. I would see people do this and do that. And I'd always say, by the way, you're going to be the most happiest if you have a good race day, no matter what athlete you got a signature of, no matter what ceremony you went
Yeah.
to. If you have a great race day, all that stuff is on the back burner.
Yep.
You're not gonna remember it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Totally.
so how do people find you guys to have you as a coach or you or Tio or any of your team?
Yeah, so
Where do they go?
saltybearsracing.com is where they can come and check out the website. And we just launched a team as well. So, in addition to Tim, myself, and we have a couple of coaches as well. If you want one on one coaching, we have that for you. But we also have a team. So, 2026, we will be at a number of events next year. I think we kick off in Oceanside. I'm in Texas. We'll be I'm in Boulder, 70.3 Boulder, 70.3 Oregon. We're going to do an East Coast 70.3 in September to be determined. And then we have a camp in Boulder as well. So, yeah, check out saltybearsracing.com if you want to be part of the team.
So it just hit me again, as you and I both talked at the beginning. I don't have a lot prepared, but the things come into our mind, and you had a glorious career, Rennie, and I think you did the things you really wanted to do, but to be able to take it and pass it on to, whether it's a mother of 4, whether it's a teenager wanting to get into the game or stuff, that's got to be immensely gratifying.
Yeah, it really is. When I retired from racing, I knew that I wanted to stay, you know, attached to the sport in some way, and give back in a way. And coaching was it's kind of cliched. You retire from racing, you go into coaching. But for me, it made sense. Like, I really love the sport. I'm curious about how to make people better, and to show them what I basically, everything that I have in my life is because of triathlon. It was a vehicle to my life as I see it now. My husband I met in the sport, so I have 3 beautiful children because I married him, and live in the U.S., and obviously all the titles and everything like that, that go along with being a professional and a successful professional. But yeah, now to be able to pass on everything that I've learned throughout my journey as a triathlete to to amateur athletes who are trying to get the best out of themselves and juggle their family and their kids. And I get it. I mean, I did that. I juggled being a mum of Isabel and Finney and racing professionally for a few years there at the end of my career. So yeah, I find it really it gives me a lot of joy to be able to see those athletes progress and break through barriers that they didn't know that they could. Yeah, so I kind of am living through them vicariously, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun.
Well, good for you. And Rennie, our sport is much better off because you found it, and to be able to continue and keep giving to it, because we all want to see it grow. We all want to see our kids, hey, I'd like to do a triathlon
Yeah,
and all that good stuff. So uh, good on you for that. Look at that. I used an Aussie. Good on
good
you.
on you. You just forgot to say mate.
Yeah, good on you, mate. Yeah, I know. That's true. Well, have a good one, and good luck in Kona on the broadcast and with your athletes. I can't wait to watch and see how all the salty bears do out there.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Thanks.
And thank you again for everybody for tuning into the show. Good luck in Kona if you're going. To all of our women out there, I hope you find your finish line and have the day that your dreams are made of, okay? Take care of yourselves. Aloha.